Whenever you hear Bossk, you obviously think of a tryhard who just loves to fucking be very annoying and just...
Yeah. So, starting with BB-8. How good is BB-8 in Heroes vs. Villains? This is a weird one because he's the only non-blaster, non-lightsaber.
Well, he's not very, like, strong, nor in health and nor attacking, but it all depends on the cards. Because the cards can make him stronger with damage and everything, but...
Yeah, actually you're right. The cards for BB-8, and also for BB-9E, for both the balls, are... it's definitely, like... Their cards are... Honestly, I'd say more than any other character, their cards make them stronger. If you're starting off at level 1 with BB-8 or BB-9E, you're not going to be very powerful. But as soon as you get the good star cards, they can be strong. I'd say in Heroes vs. Villains, BB-8 is
It still isn't the best, but against troopers, if they're all in just one room and you have that, what is the card that I use, the whip one or whatever?
Yeah, I think it's called Whirlwind or something.
Whirlwind, yes. When you use that one in a room filled with enemies, can take them out so quickly, especially like if you have it at like max.
Yeah. He's BB-8's middle ability, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but his middle ability is extremely good against troopers. Like, probably one of the best in the game, especially for objective game modes against troopers. So, in Heroes vs. Villains, he's okay. Probably a little on the weaker side. Against troopers, probably one of the best. Plus, if you're playing against actual human trooper players, they're going to have a hard time shooting at BB-8 because he's so fast and small, similar to Yoda. As for customization, obviously BB-8 doesn't get any skins. He was one of the last heroes to be added. And star cards, like we said, BB-8's got probably some of the best star cards in terms of customization. Although I haven't really seen anyone use BB-8 star cards to buff him in ways other than his middle ability. I feel like that's kind of...
Because it's like really his only good one.
Yeah. It's like they tried to make it so that his other abilities could be used for support. Or, well, more so BB-9E, but even BB-8, they tried to give him, like, a support ability, but I feel like no one ever does that. Even, like, when Leia was supposed to be a support hero, she's not really a support hero. Maybe in Heroes vs. Villains a bit, but eh. And then, playtype, no one plays BB-8, so he doesn't have a playtype. Pretty much.
BB-8 was only popular when he first came out, and then just everyone just completely just
yeah. I feel like people only play BB-8 when it's like you can only play BB-8 Rey or Finn or Chewie, because they don't want to play Rey, Finn, and Chewie's taken.
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah. Okay, so overall, BB-8, what do you think? What tier would he be?
He is C or B.
C or B? Yeah, I think that's probably fair, because he's kind of lacking in everything except being good against troopers.
Probably more towards the C one.
Yeah, that's also what I'm thinking. So C for BB-8. Look at him, he's so sad about it.
Oh man.
Now, Anakin. Oh boy.
Oh boy, Anakin.
So, Katelyn didn't play back when Anakin was first introduced to Battlefront 2, when he was extremely overpowered. I very vividly remember this.
I've heard of the rumors.
Yeah, the horror stories. Anakin was way too strong, and then they kept nerfing him until he was not very strong, and then I think they buffed him again, and now he's in a good spot, I think. Probably, generally speaking, I'd say Anakin's one of the stronger ones, because for absolutely no reason he has 4 abilities.
He do be the chosen one.
Yeah, I guess. So for Anakin, in Heroes vs. Villains, probably one of the strongest lightsaber heroes, I'd say. Let's be honest, the mind trick abilities are very niche. Like, it's not very often that they actually help you win an engagement. Anakin doesn't have any of the mind trick powers. He literally just has powers that actually help him in a duel.
Yeah, like the force push and all that.
Yeah, the force push. Honestly, I haven't played very much Anakin.
I haven't either.
Yeah. I know he's got the one where the more damage he takes, the bigger the repulse is. So Anakin in Heroes vs. Villains, I'd say all of his abilities are good, which alone is some better than a lot of other characters.
Yeah, some of the abilities that other ones have are pretty useless.
Yeah, there's like a lot of characters where it's like they're good all around, and then they've just got ability that's like never used or just shouldn't be used. So for Anakin in Heroes vs. Villains, one of the stronger characters, definitely a very viable lightsaber hero. Against Troopers, again, I'd say probably one of the stronger lightsaber heroes. The fact that he just gets so many like ragdoll abilities, so many pushes, that's one of the reasons that Luke is so good. And Anakin very much has a lot of what makes Luke strong. So I'd say both in Heroes vs. Villains and in Trooper modes, Anakin's definitely really good. Customization... See, this is where not playing a lot of Anakin kind of puts a hindrance on it. I know he's got 3 skins, and I know that all of them are alright. He's got the one that's also pretty much the same one that Obi-Wan has. It's like the robes.
Yeah.
And then he's got the Clone Wars type one, the General. Which is good for a hero. There's not, a lot of heroes don't get that many skins, especially the newer ones. So, in terms of skins, I'd say at least he's got some options. Star cards, I really don't know.
I don't know too much, but if Anakin had to be nerfed a lot, I assume the star cards are probably still going to be very useful.
Yeah. As for play type, this has really varied for Anakin. Play type, when we say that, we mean types of people that play the character, almost like stereotypes, but not exactly. Just the most common play style for people who play it. For Anakin, when he first came out, it was anyone that wanted to ruin everyone else's day. Now I'd say Anakin... Honestly, people who play Anakin probably play very straightforward, like hogging kills, taking the objective, well, maybe taking the objective.
Yeah, I feel like they're probably more so aimed at just getting kill points.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely playing, I guess, how you'd imagine Anakin to play, just very offensively, which makes sense for Anakin. But yeah, I don't know, I don't got too much to say about Anakin just because I haven't played him very much. At first I didn't play him. Well, for one, Anakin's never been like my favorite character. I thought he's cool, but never like a character I'd go out of my way to play over like Obi-Wan or someone. But also, when he first came out, I just felt bad whenever I like looked at Anakin.
Yeah, because the type of people that played Anakin, you didn't want to seem like one of them for even trying to play as Anakin.
Yeah, so...
I personally play Anakin because I understand his abilities more so, because they're more so straightforward than Obi-Wan's. Obi-Wan's with the mind trick and all that.
Yeah.
I don't really see them as too helpful. That's just my taste of a character.
And you also play Luke, and I feel like that's probably a thing that a lot of people do. I feel like a lot of people that play Anakin probably also play Luke, because they are just very similar, but also have a few little differences to make them fun separately. So where do you think Anakin goes in the list? And I'm going to say it right now, I think this is I'm going to say probably an S, because I think, compared to everyone else, like, I can't think of any weaknesses, really, that Anakin has.
Besides, like, the past stereotype, but since they've nerfed him, I guess you kind of don't really need to think of that too much anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would probably just say yes. He's pretty powerful, he's got good skins and star cards, and his play type isn't really anything too bad anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, a lot of that stuff is stuff that some characters, just don't have.
Oh, wait, your fan's too loud.
Yeah, my fan is really loud, but my ass is sweating. Alright, so, moving on, I think Luke, like I said, very similar to Anakin. Both in the fact that he's good overall, He doesn't really have any abilities that are bad. Excuse me. And in terms of customization, I think he's got the second most skins in the game, next to Han, for some reason. And Luke's got a good selection of skins. They aren't just reskins. His star cards, this is another thing that I think Luke's really good with. He's one of the characters that I feel like doesn't have any star cards that you absolutely need to use for him to be viable, like some other characters.
And I really enjoy playing Luke. He's one of my favorites whenever I get the chance, and if he's not taken, I will definitely play as him.
Yeah. Luke's also, some of his strengths are really interesting. He's either one of or the fastest lightsaber hero in the game. Darth Maul definitely rivals close in terms of, well, he's a villain, but in terms of movement speed. I'm pretty sure if Luke and Darth Maul were just sprinting, I think I saw a video on this once, if Luke and Darth Maul are both just sprinting side by side, Luke does actually win. It's just Maul's dashes that give him that extra speed. But Luke's very quick, not quite as tanky as some of the other heroes, but not the least tanky, I don't think. Not quite as much as like Darth Maul. And he's, I'd say, a very good, like, all-around. He's got good defense, good offense, and like I said, all of his abilities are really good, so...
And I don't really think there's I don't think he has a bad play type. I don't really think there's too many people who play him in a bad way. Like to where it's annoying or anything.
Yeah, that's another thing. I feel like people that play Luke typically kind of have a... Maybe it's because he's such a straightforward character that, like, it's kind of hard to get him wrong. But yeah, they seem like... Whenever I see a Luke, I never really see a Luke and I'm like, man, what is this guy doing? Like I do when I see some people. Very, very straightforward. Similar to Anakin, but I'd say less than Anakin just because if you don't know how to play Luke, which he's not hard to learn, but if you don't know how to play Luke, it isn't too hard to mess him up. Whereas someone like, I'd say Anakin or Kenobi would be more starter friendly because of Anakin being just more powerful in general and Obi-Wan being more defense based. If you're trying to block a lot or if you're trying to attack too much, there's a bit of a margin of error, but ultimately I think Luke is, and that's just player error, I think Luke is a very strong character altogether. Yeah. In Heroes vs. Villains, very good. He's got a lot of ragdoll abilities. Same thing with against troopers. Really no weaknesses that I can think of. So, yeah. What do you think Luke goes?
I would say probably also an S tier.
Also an S tier?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I think Luke is definitely one of the strongest. So yeah, I think he goes in the S tier. I have decided we're going to actually save the best for last, just because I feel like that's going to be a real treat. Come on, there we go. Next up is Finn. This guy is real weird. I have played once as Finn.
Yeah, I say he's... I've never played him, but I say he'd probably be someone who's fun to play as if you enjoy playing as someone with a blaster.
Yeah.
If you play just anyone with a lightsaber, you would probably, like me, I only play people with lightsabers. I would definitely have a difficult time learning his abilities and also just aiming and shooting.
Yeah. So one thing about Finn that is nice is he does have his sharpshooter ability that makes it so that you don't have to aim. I think... So here's the first character, and one of the only characters I think that is like this. I think Finn is really, really good in the trooper game modes, and really, really bad in Heroes vs. Villains, because when you're playing against people with lightsabers, I'd say... Alright, I'm gonna go off on a limb here and say that Finn is the worst character you could possibly be playing to go into a duel with another hero. Almost every other character has something they can do to stun, or to get away, or to block, or, you know, something like that. Just some way to keep themselves alive.
Yeah, like Kylo, he can freeze an enemy. Anakin can like do a push along with like Luke.
Yeah. Finn. Now I get that two of Finn's abilities, I think, buff teammates around him, which just reinforces my point that Finn is a trooper game mode hero, and it feels a little weird to have a hero that's specifically for that. I feel like they could have made him a little bit stronger in duels by giving him maybe a different ability. I honestly don't even remember all three of his abilities. I know he's got one where he pulls out his pistol. I know he's got the sharpshooter one, and the other one is always like a little hazy to me. I can't remember what it is.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, and same thing with his star cards. Since I only played him once, I don't know that much. This is probably the character I've played the least, next to like... okay, actually there's a couple, probably like Bossk, Dooku, and Grievous, but them I know a little bit better. Finn is probably the character I'm the least knowledgeable with, so... Although I do know that he got one extra skin. I remember I looked at it and I was like, man, that's disappointing. I mean, Finn doesn't have that many looks to begin with, but I think like the Stormtrooper look for Finn with like the blood on his helmet, I think that would have been really cool, or even just unmasked.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like there were options for Finn that they didn't go into, and I feel like the Rise of Skywalker skin is just not serviceable. So, where do you think he goes?
So in forms of heroes versus villains, not good, but against troopers, he's pretty decent.
Yeah.
And then play type, he doesn't really have a play type, huh? Because it kind of feels like people who play him kind of have a mix of don't know what they're doing, but also at the same time, you can't really, I guess, play him in an annoying way.
Which is another thing. No matter what character it is, all these characters are viable in one way or another. That's one thing that is kind of nice, is that no matter who you want to play, you can play them. And there are some people that are really, really good with Finn and can make him extremely powerful in Heroes vs. Villains. It's a lot more difficult than playing Luke, you know? It's harder to get the top of the scoreboard with Finn than it is with Luke or Anakin, and also I just heard my voice crack, but just don't pay attention to that. Should there be a D tier?
I think so, actually.
Yeah. Because he's not, like, absolutely god-awful, but, like, I feel like he's not as good as BB-8.
Yeah, I feel like he needs to be on, like, a D tier.
Alright, I'm adding a tier. Specifically for Finn. I would put him in F for Finn, but he doesn't quite get that yet. D for D. Alright, so on to Obi-Wan. One of my favorite light side heroes. Actually, I'm going to say my favorite light side hero. His three abilities are good. I'd say not as good. Like, you can't compare all of them to like Luke's or Anakin's. Not all of them are going to be useful in as many situations as Luke and Obi-Wan's in terms of just dealing damage.
Because his are like more like on the defense side or whatever.
Yeah, his are definitely more defensive, more kind of tactical, I'd say. You have to put a little bit more thought into playing Obi-Wan and maybe planning, because with Obi-Wan you can't just run into an objective and start slashing or you'll get shot down pretty quick, even though his defensive is really good. One thing that a lot of heroes have, and I notice some people actually don't know this, all heroes have a certain amount of stamina. The stamina goes down whenever you deflect blaster shots and whenever you deflect lightsaber attacks, but the amount that goes down differs for each hero. It's going to go down a lot more for Darth Maul or Luke than it will for Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan is meant for that defense. Then whenever you slash, then for some characters it won't go down much. Like for Darth Maul, slashing takes very little stamina. For Yoda and Obi-Wan, it takes a pretty big chunk because they are more defense-based. Well, Yoda's a little weird, but for Obi-Wan, he is more defense-based. If you know how to play Obi-Wan, he's definitely, I'd say, one of the stronger lightsaber heroes, especially since there's only 5 lightsaber heroes. I'd say he's definitely up there. Maybe not quite as good as Anakin and Luke.
Yeah, I mean, it also, normally people would probably want to play Anakin and Luke because it's more simple, it's straightforward, just force push, all that type of stuff. Obi-Wan's, like you said, you need to put more thought into it, so some people might not want to play Obi-Wan because of that. Me, personally, I've played him a few times, but his abilities are too... not my style.
Yeah. But I'd say in Heroes vs. Villains, as long as you know what you're doing, I think Obi-Wan is really good in Heroes vs. Villains, honestly.
Yeah, you can play him really well if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, good against Troopers. I'd say he's even better against Troopers than in Heroes vs. Villains, honestly.
Yeah.
As for customization, he very similar to Anakin. He's got his robes and he's got his Clone Wars outfit. I actually like his robes more than Anakin's. I don't know why. I think it's just the color scheme.
I was going to say the color scheme, because Anakin's is just all black.
Yeah, it's like black on top of black on top of gray.
Yeah.
It looks a little weird. And then his star cards... See, I haven't seen many other people's star cards that play Obi-Wan, but I feel like you can actually do a lot with Obi-Wan's star cards. Like, there's a few different ways you can actually go about it. You can fully deck out his defense in terms of just blocking. He's got a really good star card where the more things you block, whether it be lightsaber attacks or blaster bolts, the more defensive stamina he has, and you can work a build across with that, or you can just work on more traditional, like making his force push further and stronger and stuff like that. So he's got options in terms of star cards. Now, what about play type for Obi-Wan?
I don't really think that there's a bad play type for him. Like, in Heroes vs. Villains, when fighting against Obi-Wan, he's never made me rage or anything.
Yeah.
The way he plays isn't, like, so absurd, you know?
Yeah. I feel like it's probably just because Obi-Wan's so sexy. Like, you can't, like, look at him and just be like, God damn it, this guy killed me. You look at him and you're like, at least he killed me.
I mean, yeah, there could be, it could be worse. You can be killed by other people. I think he's definitely a good character and can definitely be fun to play as if you know what you're doing, and I don't really think there's any way he can really be played wrong to where it's so god-awfully unbearable.
Yeah, the thing is that when you're playing Obi-Wan, if you're playing him quote-unquote incorrectly, you're mostly just hindering yourself. There's other characters that can be played quote-unquote incorrectly, and it can just be really frustrating for the people they're fighting, especially looking right at Captain Phasma, because if you just sit there right next to your dildo bot, you can... Okay, where do you think Obi-Wan goes?
Do you want to put him in A or S?
I'm gonna say A, because I really don't think he quite reaches Luke and Anakin, but I think he's definitely really good.
All right. Well, I wanted your opinion because you play him more than I do. So.
What do you think?
I'm fine with A. I just want to know where you think he goes.
Yeah. I think it's mostly just the situationalness of him and like the fact that he has a specific play type. It's a lot easier to play Obi-Wan wrong than it is Anakin and Luke, and that's kind of the only thing that really docks him from being S tier with them. Next up is Han. Now, Han is a weird character. Sorry, I had to drink some water.
Kenobi begin, you thirsty?
Yeah. Kenobi was... Han is probably the opposite of Finn in terms of blaster heroes. I'd say that Han is probably, like, in terms of just heroes, not necessarily counting villains, I think that Han is the best dueling blaster hero. Because he's got two ragdolls, his shoulder and his bomb, and then he's also got sharpshooter, which lets you deal out a ton of damage. So high damage, a mobility ability that also is a ragdoll, and a explosive AoE damage plus ragdoll ability. Like, again, three very strong abilities. None of them are bad.
I've played him a few times, and even though I'm not good at him, I still think he's pretty fun to play as, but I cannot get his shoulder shove correctly. I always miss past the enemies.
Yeah, the control for Obi-Wan's dash and Han Solo's shoulder are a little weird. I know Obi-Wan's dash used to be a lot worse, and then they changed it to work the same as Han's shoulder dash. But they still feel like a little bit strange. If once you kind of play them enough, you get used to it, but it can be a little strange at first. In terms of how good Han is in Heroes vs. Villains, I think Han is, again, since he's one of the best duelists, probably the best blaster hero you could play in Heroes vs. Villains. I really can't see any situation where you wouldn't want to play Han if you're wanting to play a blaster hero in Heroes vs. Villains. How good is he against troopers? I'd say very similar to the others. It's like there's no reason not to play him. He doesn't have any weaknesses against troopers. I mean, sure, he doesn't have any defensive abilities. I guess that's one thing you could look at. But his shoulder charge can also be used to dash really quickly and get to cover. There's a star card you can use on his shoulder to make it so that when you're running, you take less damage.
So it doesn't need to be used to attack. It can literally just be a getaway card.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd say against troopers, definitely very good. Customization, he's got the most skins in the game. I think it's 7. I believe it's 7. It's a lot for some reason. Like,
I don't even remember what any of the skins are. Did he really have like 7 outfits out of them?
He really did. It was his normal look, his smuggler look, which you got from playing the campaign where he had like a little beard, the Hoth look from, the snow area.
Yeah.
He eventually got one that was, in my opinion, it wasn't very good. It was like the end of A New Hope when he gets his medal.
No, one of them is just him frozen.
Oh yeah. He's just the block running around with a floating pistol.
Jump.
Yeah. No, he got that one at the end of A New Hope, and he also got his Endor skin where he's got the jacket. That's the one I really like. And then he also got 2 for the Han Solo movie with the new actor. I already lost count, but I'm pretty sure that was 7. 7 or 8.
7 or 8, yeah.
Yeah. So he's got the most skins in the game, I think.
But just because having the most skins doesn't mean that they're all good. So.
Yeah.
It all just depends on how they look, not how many they have.
Yeah. As for Han's star cards, I'd say, I'm trying to remember all Han's star cards. Like, I feel like Han is one of those characters where I unlocked the star cards I wanted and then never even thought about changing them because they were just pretty much the best ones you could have. I think he's got 4 or 5 that are just subjectively the best star cards you could possibly have out of his options. And that's a thing that is kind of common across many characters, some more than others. For Han especially, I feel like is a little bit disappointing. I feel like he could have had more ways to be played. I feel like having his extra dodge is really good in Heroes vs. Villains. There's a star card that gives him an extra dodge. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think of play type for Han?
Well, honestly, I don't really recall ever seeing a bad play for him because I don't even really recall seeing people play as him very often.
Yeah, so I do specifically remember a few times where I feel like I've seen Han players that teabag and just be disrespectful because they're very strong. And he can be a little frustrating to play against because he does have 2 ragdolls and a blaster, so he can just keep you away, especially if he's a good player and knows how to combo.
Yeah, and another thing with people who play as blaster heroes, they usually tend to stay far away, so it can be very annoying to try and run over to them when they're just constantly shooting at you.
Yeah, but altogether, he is probably one of the stronger blaster heroes, probably one of the strongest. Where do you think he actually goes, though? This is a tough one, actually.
Probably want to say B.
B?
Yeah.
I was kind of leaning towards A, but I'm trying to think, like, what's a weakness that Han has? Like, if he really has any weaknesses. I mean, I guess, like, the lack of defense kind of is a bit of a downer. Mm-hmm. We did dock Finn some points for not having any defense. So, I'd say, yeah, maybe B is actually right for Han, even though it's a little strange to think, because I know that he is one of the stronger, but I feel like Han is a bit of a weird mixed bag, since playing him against other characters can be really weird and difficult. I feel like the matchups vary a lot. I feel like Han against Boba, or Han against Bossk, or Han against Darth Vader or Darth Maul, all of those are very different scenarios, whereas like for Obi-Wan, no matter who you're fighting, you pretty much do the same thing. For Han, you kind of have to switch it up a lot depending on who you're fighting. But yeah, so that's enough for Han. Next, Princess Leia. Character I recently started playing when I moved over to the PlayStation. But still haven't played a ton of her. She does have, I think, 3 or 4 skins. I think 4. She's got her Endor, Hoth, Princess, and Default. I feel like that's all of them. And my favorite one is actually her Hoth. The Princess one is alright. I like it because, it's classic.
It's the iconic.
Yeah. But I just like her hair in the Hoth one, honestly. I also get turned on by girls in winter clothes. Is that weird? I'm just saying.
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I don't really. It's kind of like. I mean, it's obviously different than guys getting turned on by girls in their bikinis, but yeah. I honestly say that getting turned on by girls in winter clothes is probably on the more innocent side because you're not. Because I mean, compared to bikinis, they're basically naked. Yeah.
Well, speaking of bikinis, missed opportunity not including the Hutt, the slave Leia skin. No. And that's a perfect segue back into talking about Princess Leia. How good is she in Heroes vs. Villains? So, for a large majority of Battlefront 2's life, Leia had 2 abilities that were borderline useless in Heroes vs. Villains. She had her shield and flashbangs. They were bad. They were just terrible. There was pretty much no reason to use either of them. The shield, you could argue, would sometimes be useful if you had to move through an open area, but it really just wasn't that useful. You could just use cover.
Yeah, and the bomb one?
The flashbang, yeah.
That one just doesn't seem even remotely useful.
Yeah. So eventually they did update Leia and replaced her flashbangs with grenades. She's actually the only character, I think, that ever got an ability actually changed after she came out. Like, to that degree, it was fully remade. To instead be bombs instead of flashbangs, which they're called thermal detonators, I know. I don't want anyone to think I don't know about Star Wars, okay? I know so much about Star Wars.
I know you do. You're the reason I even know Star Wars.
I know. I wish I could show them my room. I'm looking at Darth Maul on a board right now.
You have so many Darth Mauls.
Yeah.
He has a Darth Maul life-size cutout.
Yeah. Over there on the bed is the body pillow. I'm joking. Maybe.
Where is he?
So how good... Oh, so now that she has the bombs ability, I'd say that Leia is better in Heroes vs. Villains, but still one of the weaker choices, I'd say, in terms of blaster heroes in Heroes vs. Villains. Against troopers, I'd say she's actually very formidable now. Having the shield ability is actually really useful in the trooper game modes when you've got snipers and like a bunch of crazy stuff going on. I feel like that's when the shield is actually useful, not against like 2 blaster heroes. There's a hair in my face. As for customization, she does have a decent amount of skins, more skins than the average character. And star cards, I feel like she's not overly impacted by her star cards like a lot of other characters. I feel like you can get stronger by using her star cards, but not by as much as like Luke or Han or Obi-Wan. If you use her star cards maxed out, there's some times that you will notice the difference, but I feel like you can't have like different builds really with Leia. Not overly game-changing ones. What about playtype for Leia?
I don't really think it's a here or there.
Yeah.
I don't really think there's anything too much to say.
I feel like it's very rare that you see Leia players. Oh, one thing I actually did forget. She does have a skin that's the Bossk skin, her like bounty hunter disguise one. I think that's pretty sweet.
Right, yeah.
That is pretty cool. So definitely stylish.
Yes.
And yeah, no like overly negative or positive like play stereotypes. I'd say Leia would probably be a C.
Probably because of like, well, not only just lack of people like playing her, and her compared to Han, she does have her downsides.
Yeah, she just doesn't have as much damage output as Han, really. And the fact that in Heroes vs. Villains, you have to be really good with Leia to make her, like, really good in Heroes vs. Villains. Like, you can pick up a few kills, but you'd just be better off playing Han. So, I think she's a solid C tier. I feel like seeing her and BB-8 rolling around would be a pretty good duo.
Probably, yeah.
So, now on to Yoda. This guy is going to be really weird to place.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I feel like Yoda's one of the most AI, like if you're fighting AI, I'm going to say Yoda's not good. If you're fighting players, Yoda is formidable. Because a lot of Yoda's strength lies in playing him like you would imagine playing Yoda. You're jumping around a lot, you're trying to be hard to hit, you're very small, very quick. AI don't care. They will snipe you while you're in midair. Like,
exactly.
It doesn't matter what you're doing. The AI will hit you. And you just can't be blocking enough with Yoda to be able to do that. Against players, jumping around doing all that, it's actually more skill-based. So, again, it comes down to whether or not you're fighting really skilled players that can judge what Yoda will likely do next. But if you're really good with Yoda, again, like all characters, you can make him useful. Well, all characters except some.
Yeah. Now, I don't know Yoda's abilities really much at all, so I can't put in an input on that.
Yeah. His abilities, he's got his middle ability, which heals himself and everyone around him. It doesn't heal, it actually gives bonus HP.
Yeah.
Which that one's nice. It's like it's actually a good support ability. I feel like Finn's got support abilities that are like, alright. Yoda's support ability is never not useful.
Yeah.
Yoda's left ability, I think it's his left, is the Force Push. And he's got one of the more interesting Force Pushes in the game, where the more that he blocks, the bigger his Force Push gets. So you can absorb and then unleash. And then his right ability is the dash, which a lot of characters, Han, Darth Maul, or not Han, Luke, Darth Maul, they all have their right ability dashes. It just jets you forward, does a little bit of damage. Good for getting through blocks. Yoda's abilities, I'd say none of them are terrible. I feel like his dash is actually a little worse than Maul and Luke's, just because it feels like you get locked into the animation a bit longer, and with Yoda you have to move a lot, kind of unpredictably. Like you have to change your direction a lot, and once you lock into a dash, you can't really do that with Yoda. And you're probably going to take a few hits, and Yoda does not have a lot of health. That's another thing.
Yeah.
And his stamina is very weird. Like, he doesn't have a ton of defensive stamina. He's got a little bit. He's got a decent amount. But he does not have a lot of attacking stamina at all. I think he can attack 3 or 4 times until he's just out of stamina.
Yeah, so that's where a lot of the jumping comes in, to just kind of stay out of the way.
Yeah. Now, as for customization, I would say Yoda has the second worst skin in the game. The second worst alternate skin. With the hooded Yoda.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, the little ear cutouts. It's so cute. Very weird. That was never in the movies or TV shows as far as I can remember. I don't remember seeing it in the Clone Wars.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea for a skin.
What was the one that we thought, like, that they could have done that would have been better than the hooded one?
Oh, there's a scene in episode 3 where Yoda actually loses his overcoat, his robes, and he's just wearing, like, the undergarments. And it doesn't look like it looks plain, but honestly it looks better than his hooded thing. Like, that thing is just weird.
It really is. I don't know why. They really just had no ideas.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw in something.
Yeah. As for star cards, I'd say Yoda's actually got a decent amount of star cards that you can switch between. You can either play a very supportive defensive or a very offensive nimble Yoda, so I'd say that's a good one for him. Now, as for play type, again, I feel like Yoda's another character you just don't see a lot compared to other ones.
I mean, because when they're usually given, like, the option of, like, Anakin or Obi-Wan and stuff, so...
Yeah.
Typically, they go for those two before Yoda.
Yeah.
Yoda's kind of like the last choice for, like, lightsaber hero.
Yeah, I feel like that too. He's probably like everyone's last choice. I think he's fun to play, but not necessarily overly good.
Yeah.
Where do you think he actually goes, though?
That's the difficult part.
That is the difficult part.
Because I don't think he matches with Han, so...
Yeah, I also don't feel like he quite holds up with Han. I'm trying to debate if it's C or D.
I mean, I guess you gotta look at it this way. Does he compare to BB-8 and Leia, or does he compare to Finn?
I would say... I feel kind of bad doing this, but I feel like he's closer in power to Finn than BB-8 and Leia. And I feel like it's weird saying that Yoda's weaker than BB-8, but honestly, I feel like a BB-8 can do more for a round than a Yoda can. Just in terms of having a bit of support and also some offense. Yoda is just very hard to play correctly, and I think he probably goes in the D tier.
Yeah.
Alright. Sorry, Yoda. Alright, now for Chewbacca. I feel like Chewbacca is underrated.
He's definitely strong and he's definitely powerful with firearm.
Yeah. I feel like, I didn't play any Chewbacca really on the computer, but once I moved to the PlayStation, I started playing just a ton of Chewbacca. And I feel like in Heroes vs. Villains, he's really good because he's got splash damage on each attack that he does with his bowcaster, and that means that even if a hero is blocking, you can deal damage to them. I think the only other blaster hero that can deal damage with a normal attack while a hero is blocking, like from the front, is Iden's secondary attack. So Chewie being able to do that is really, really good. Plus, his bowcaster does do pretty good damage. It's got a very slow fire rate, unless you're using the Furious bowcaster thing. But the fact that he is the tankiest blaster hero definitely puts him up there in terms of power. Yeah, he's definitely a bit of a powerhouse. How good is he in Heroes vs. Villains? I'd say really good. He's one of the best characters at disabling a Boba Fett if you're having an issue with a Boba Fett player. Chewbacca is one of the best options. If you need a blaster hero, I'd honestly say even if you don't play blaster heroes very often, Chewbacca's not bad because he's very straightforward. He doesn't shoot very fast, so if you need to shoot faster, if you need to deal a lot of damage, you just use his middle ability. And then his right ability is a ground pound, and his left ability is shot grenades, which the shot grenades are never not useful, especially against heroes or villains. So I think all of his abilities really good in Heroes vs. Villains and really good in general. Even better against troopers, though. Chewbacca, I'd say, is one of the strongest. No, I'm just going to say Chewbacca is the strongest character, next to maybe Palpatine, in terms of fighting against troopers. Because while BB-8 can like wipe out rooms of troopers with his middle ability, that's really his main method of dealing lots of damage to a lot of troopers. Chewbacca, all of his abilities are really, really good with dealing with troopers. You throw in his shock grenade to kind of soften the blow so you can run in, and you've got enough health to tank for you to then run in and ground pound, and then use his Furious Bowcaster ability to tank even more damage while dealing even more damage. And leading straight into his customization, his star cards, he's one of the characters that I feel like he has star cards that there's a set that you should use for Heroes vs. Villains, and then there's a set that you should use for Troopers. Specifically, the one against Troopers, I feel like you should never mess with, because there's a few star cards in particular that make it so that you take less damage when the middle ability is active, and whenever you kill someone with the middle ability active, it regenerates. That way it doesn't end. And that is like the best thing you can get for Chewbacca. In terms of skins, very, very lacking.
Definitely very lacking. It's like as bad as Yoda.
Yeah. It's like he has skins, but they're so bad you kind of wish he didn't have skins. I always run around with his bandage skin, the worst skin in the game, just because I feel like it's funny that it's even there. I don't know why they would market that as another skin.
I don't know. It's literally just a bandage on his arm. They changed nothing else.
Yeah. And that was his only skin for a long time until the Corellia Han Solo update, where they finally added his Vandor heist skin. And that one's alright. He's got goggles, he's got some things. To be fair, Chewbacca didn't have a lot of skin options, but I feel like he had a fantastic legendary skin option, which was the scene from Episode 5 where he's got C-3PO in the backpack, like in parts. I feel like that would have been a sweet skin.
That would have been so damn cool.
Yeah. And I feel like it's a big missed opportunity, especially since Chewbacca doesn't have that many opportunities for skins. Now, as for play type, again, like I said, Chewbacca's pretty underrated. I feel like I don't see him very often.
Because again, a lot of people want to play as the lightsaber heroes.
Yeah, and even people that do play blasters, I feel like they more so gravitate towards Han. Occasionally I'll see a Chewbacca, but it's really not very often. Where do you think Chewie would go?
Thinking A, because I think he is better than Han.
Yeah, I'm actually going to say that too. I feel like this is a bit of a weird one. I feel like people are going to feel very strange because we're putting Han at B and Chewie at A, but honestly, I feel like Han has disadvantages that Chewie just doesn't. Chewie is just, like, sure, he doesn't have as much... He has actually just about as much mobility as Han, with him having the ground pound, which actually lets you charge, and Han has his shoulder rush for mobility, but Chewie just has more health. He can tank more than Han, and he's got enough damage.
Yeah, he has a lot of health, and he's very powerful and with firearm, and doesn't really have any disadvantages. He doesn't have any useless abilities or anything.
Yeah.
Everything's pretty helpful.
And now, Lando Calrissian. I played this guy a grand total of once with Finn. I swear I'm not racist, it's just the black characters aren't as good.
Don't blame us. Blame Disney.
Yeah, it's Disney's fault. Now, I do think, I'll say right off the bat, I think Lando is better than Finn.
Oh, definitely.
Lando in Heroes vs. Villains is a weird thing, because I know for a fact that Lando's smoke grenade is supposed to stop lightsabers from being able to lock onto you, but there has been a multitude of times when I was playing as Darth Maul that I could very, very easily kill a Lando in his smoke bomb. I don't know if it's just that the ability doesn't work super well, or what the issue is there. So I don't know what the issue is with his smoke bomb grenade, if there even is an issue. Maybe I just lucked out. But I feel like that's a bit of a weird one. He has a shock grenade, or shock ability, very, very similar. It's like a discharge similar to Chewbacca's. I would say that it's definitely best when used with Chewbacca, because you can lock someone down for a solid like 5 seconds if you have a Chewie and a Lando. If you're looking for a tag team blaster heroes, I would actually say Lando and Chewie is a lot better than Han and Chewie, just because of their dual shock grenades. Lando's pistol doesn't deal a ton of damage compared to the others, but it does have its like night vision thing, good for a smoke grenade, good against players. Again, I feel like against AI, it doesn't really help much because they just shoots right through that smoke. But I haven't played a ton of Lando, like I said, so...
I don't know anything about him, so this decision has to be yours.
Yeah. In terms of customization, he does have some cool skins. I'll give him that. He's got, I think, 5 skins, which isn't bad. He's got his normal skin, his, like, I think it's called Commander skin, his legendary Praetorian Guard skin. Actually, it's not called that, it's called something else. Like his disguise skin, and then he's got his 2 Han Solo new actor skins, the Donald Glover ones. I swear to God, if it wasn't Donald, I'm pretty sure it was Donald Glover. I swear to God, if I got that wrong, everyone's gonna be really mad.
It's okay, the power of editing.
Yeah. Okay, anyway. Lando's star cards, I haven't played enough of him. I really have never even unlocked all of his star cards, and I don't know what they all do, so I can't accurately say how good his star cards are, if he's got a lot of options, or if it's just like he's got a few that are the best. I also haven't gone up against enough Landos to know, because, again, I feel like Lando is a very underplayed character. I feel like he's kind of neither here nor there.
I swear, like, I've never seen anyone play Hondo unless it's with the troopers.
Yeah. Also, you just said Hondo. Hondo's way cooler. We're talking about Lando. Hondo's the pirate guy.
Oh, sorry. Whoops.
Yeah. If Hondo was in it, that'd be fucking sick, though.
See, another missed opportunity.
Yeah.
For a fucking character.
Oh, God, the fucking lip rub.
Oh, God.
I'll just fucking put the clip of that in there.
Profit.
So, in terms of play type for Lando, there isn't one. No one plays him. Not really. I have seen a few really good Lando players. Very rarely. I'm going to say right off the bat, I'm pretty solid on where I think he goes. Mm-hmm. I feel like he's kind of neck and neck with Leia and BB-8. I feel like a C tier is just about good. I feel like in terms of just raw, like, being a good blaster hero, he's not quite as good as Han, but he has some uses that can make him very powerful. So, situational, I'd say. So, I'd say C.
I agree.
All right. C for him. Huh. Now, on to the villains. What do you think of Rey? I kind of don't even like saying her name. It kind of makes me just want to put her in the F tier. We're just going to leave her there for a second.
On.
Yeah, moving on.
Much I don't like about her. I mean, we're just only talking about the game here, right? We're not talking about the movies and her appearance and everything about her.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing I do want to say. When the game launched, it got fixed fairly quickly. When the game launched, there was like a screen. I think it was the loading screen of the game, the main loading screen, where Rey's face literally looked like a man. And I'll put it up if I can find it. But she looked like a man in the game. And I just want to say that because I don't know why I wanted to say that. I just wanted to say that.
It must have been so terrifying.
Yeah, it was like she already doesn't look fantastic. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. Daisy Ridley isn't like a bad-looking actress, but
no, she's not. But
Rey is like a character that I just want to hate so bad. And again, this is mostly because of the movies, but also in the game. I'm just gonna say she has 3 abilities. 2 of them are terrible, and the third one is a retard dash. I feel like I don't even want to explain myself. I don't like talking about her. It makes me angry.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory, and those who don't know can easily go play her and realize how useless she is, or can literally just listen to anyone, because pretty much everyone has the same opinions.
Yeah. Now again, like anyone, if you're really good with Rey, if you play her a lot, she's not bad. She is a lightsaber hero. There's really no way that you can go wrong with a lightsaber hero. If you're just using your lightsaber and no abilities, you can still have fun. But Rey is, in my opinion, the absolute worst lightsaber hero you could play on either side. And that's just because Rey has an ability that lets her see through walls. This is meant to be for intel gathering. It is infinitely more useful for a creature. For a I'm playing too much D&D. For a character with a gun. If you have a lightsaber, being able to see enemies through walls is somewhat useful, but you already have a mini-map that pretty much tells you where the enemies are, so being able to see them through walls and trace them gives you almost no benefit. So that's one ability that's nearly useless. Then her mind trick that screws with your controls. It's annoying, sure, but not only is it fairly easy to counter once you've done it, once you've gotten mind tricked by her like 100 times, but also it's not, like, it doesn't stop lightsaber heroes from blocking, I don't think. Even if it does, you can still jump and like move back, so you can still dodge. You can still do anything that you need to, because it doesn't last that long. It lasts like 2-3 seconds. It's not long at all. Maybe like 4, but still.
it is more annoying when it happens in Heroes vs. Villains because she uses it on you, and then since your keys are all jacked up, any of the other heroes can come in and just easily kill you.
Yeah. I'll say her dash ability isn't bad because it does let you move farther pretty fast than a lot of the other dash abilities in the game, but its damage is for a dash.
And also it's hard to control.
It's hard to control, and it is her only damaging ability on a lightsaber hero. There are some characters that can survive with only one damaging ability. Not Rey. She's just not good enough. I feel like that's kind of... Okay, so for skins, I'll say, she's about as useful in Heroes vs. Villains as she is against Troopers. In terms of customization for skins, she has 4, I believe now. She has her default one, her pre-order skin. I have that, by the way. Her Ankh-To skin, and that was for when I think The Last Jedi came out. And then her, oh, she actually has 5 skins, sorry. She has her Resilient one with the hood, which looks terrible, because the hood just looks huge. And the yellow lightsaber.
It's pretty much established a hood on any of the characters
Yeah.
that don't need hoods just will not look good.
Yeah. I'd say her yellow lightsaber skin is definitely one of the coolest, because it makes you the only character in the game that can have a yellow lightsaber. That's alone really sweet. Mm-hmm. But everyone got it for free, so that kind of took away from it.
Yeah, so it doesn't even really help up her case on this chart.
Yeah. And her pre-order skin, I did actually really like it, but it's a pre-order skin, so not that many people actually got access to it, and I don't think it makes up for a lot of her weaknesses, which are like everything. So that's why Rey is getting an F tier. Also because she sucks as a character.
Yeah, we don't even need to go into the whole details of the movies.
Yeah, that's a whole nother very long discussion for another day. Hope maybe not. I hope not.
Never.
Okay, for real this time we're saving the best for last. My best. I don't know if it's probably not the actual best, but okay, anyway. On to the villains. BB-9E, the evil ball. I'll admit that when I first heard he was coming into the game, I was like, why? That seems like very random. The second villain, who didn't have very much screen time, and I was like, it doesn't make sense, next to Bossk, to make it into the game. But after playing some of him, I can see why. They didn't want to just have BB-8s, like all the animations and everything that they used for BB-8, they didn't want to let it go to waste by only having one ball. So I can see why they would go for BB-9E.
And I guess also equal match for BB-8, I guess.
Yeah, just to have like a bad guy for BB-8, it does kind of make sense. Now, how good is he in Heroes vs. Villains? BB-9E... Okay, so here's the thing. BB-8, when he was designed, was actually... He's meant to be a offensive light side hero. So, excuse me, he does have 2 damaging abilities. BB-8 does? Oh my goodness, excuse me. And BB-9E only has 1 damaging ability. And then he's got his vape and his scanner. Now, as opposed to like Rey or someone else, his scanner is mainly, I feel like, for his allies. I don't see why you'd ever use it. BB-9E is a character that you need to play him very, very specifically. He needs to stay with teammates because he doesn't have enough health, he doesn't have enough offense, he doesn't have enough of anything to really survive on his own. He needs to be played as a hard support. I feel like he's fun to play, but altogether, especially if you're talking about duels, you're gonna have a hard time playing BB-8 or BB-9E. Troopers, pretty much the same thing. His middle ability can deal damage, but it's not nearly, like, even close to as powerful as BB-8's middle ability. Yeah. As for customization, he has no skins, much like BB-8. I mean, there aren't really any options. Mm-hmm. And for star cards, I feel like BB9E is a character that you can really only play for fun, because you can't, like, even with star cards, you cannot make him a very viable offensive character, I don't think. So I'd say in star cards you have a few options, but none of them are going to make him overly powerful. It's just kind of how you want to support your team. What about play type? I feel like I don't see very many.
No, there's like no play type.
Yeah, I feel like almost no one plays BB9E, unless they're playing for fun. So, where does BB9E go?
Do you want to put him in the same spot as BB8, or do you want to put him, like...
I kind of feel like he goes lower than that.
Maybe below.
Yeah. I feel like he definitely loses points for being a character that you have to play as a support. Like, most of them, like, Finn, I'd say kind of Finn, even Leia, like, you don't have to play as a support, it's just that it definitely benefits you. BB8, or BB9E rather, you don't have many options. Like, you're playing him as a support, you're sticking with your teammate, or you're gonna die. So, I almost feel like I almost kind of want to give him an F.
Really?
Yeah, just because, like, while he is fun, he's really fun, he's just not, like, I don't know, I just don't feel like he's in the same ballpark as many other heroes, with only having one damaging ability, and some support abilities that are actually, you know what? Maybe not. Because I feel like he does have 2 passives, which is another thing. Like, he can heal nearby teammates. I feel like it's just that you don't recognize how much good you're doing with BB9E, because a lot of it is going to your teammates and not you. So maybe D, actually. You think D?
Yeah.
Alright. D tier for BB9E. Oh, that's F. My bad. She drew my gaze. I got angry for a second. Made me drop BB9.
Dropped him on his little ball head.
Yeah. Alright, Boba Fett. I love playing Boba Fett. He is so fun and cool. In Heroes vs. Villains, I'd say good. I'd say pretty good.
Yeah. This is where the play type comes in, though. It all depends on how you play him. There's definitely mixed opinions on whenever people see Boba Fett in the Heroes vs. Villains.
Yeah. Again, going into the history of Battlefront 2, Heroes vs. Villains, there used to be, like, right now it's basically a deathmatch and your team just has an amount of lives. How it used to be was there was only 10 or 12 lives, but the only way that the enemy team could go down a life is if you killed their target. And every 60 seconds they got a new target. And if that target was Boba Fett, he would go to the highest point in the map where no one could reach him, and he would hide. And it was the most annoying thing in the world.
I've seen some footage.
Yeah, that is... I'm really glad they got rid of that. But that's kind of how a lot of Boba Fett players, I feel like, are. Is, like, they can cheese with his jetpack.
Yeah, like, I've seen that they'll, like, whenever they land, they'll, like, shoot from afar. Then when you even get anywhere near them, they just fly away.
Yeah. And it just gets, it's like trying to swat a bug. It is really annoying. It can be, rather.
Yes.
There's some Boba Fett players that, Boba Fett can be played a lot of different ways. He's very versatile, I'd say, for a blaster hero. I'd say his gun is good. It's adequate for a hero gun. His abilities are a little weird. His concussive ability is pretty much useless unless you have certain star cards, but I feel like no one ever uses those star cards because he has... Boba is one of the characters that has a set of star cards that no matter what game mode you're playing, you pretty much never, ever want to change his star cards. He has ones that help him fly, and those are the star cards that you want to use. And also, you can also deck out his missile ability, because it's his only damaging ability. I believe that the star cards I use for Boba are the ones where his jetpack fuel refills quicker. As he's flying, his jetpack fuel burns slower, and the Focalize, his very last star card, where his thing does more damage, his missiles do more damage towards the center. I actually know for a fact that is exactly the star card setup that I use, and I have pretty much never switched it for Boba. So I feel like in terms of customization, the absolute bare minimum, because he also never got a skin. Very sad. Now, they did cut support before Mandalorian, sadly, so they couldn't give him any of those really sweet Mandalorian outfits. There were 2 in particular that would have been so cool. To be fair, before the Mandalorian, there wasn't a lot of options for Boba. A lot of people always said do the battle damage Sarlacc armor, but technically that wasn't canon, so I can see why they didn't. And then yeah, play type, like we said, he can be either up or down.
He's fun to play as, but depending on how you play as him, might annoy the hell out of the people you're playing against.
Yeah. Now, one thing I will say, sometimes it's not the player's fault. Boba Fett can be very hard to play depending on how you try to play him. If you try to play him as like a flying blaster hero where like you fly around shooting at people and like you only come down when you absolutely need to and then you fly again and shoot some more, it can be hard because it's hard to shoot with his jetpack because the jetpack is constantly moving you, and aiming for some people can already be hard enough. Aiming while flying can be a whole other thing.
Yeah, and again, the jetpack runs out of fuel pretty quickly, so and you land pretty quickly, so.
And he has a burst rifle instead of a full auto, which makes sense, but still, makes it even more difficult. And not to mention, if you're going up against a Chewbacca, if Chewbacca shoots you, I think twice while you're in midair, your jetpack gets disabled, and you just fall to the ground. That can be kind of your doom. So if someone picks Chewie in Heroes vs. Villains, you better hope you're not playing on that one Hoth map. The one Hoth cave map, because, ooh, that's not a fun time. But, so this is going to be one of the harder ones. Where do you think he actually goes? Yeah.
That is definitely harder. Will you play him more than I ever did? When I played him, I had difficulty. I could not fly around and shoot things. I think I pretty much immediately fell and died.
Yeah. So this is a difficult one, but I'm going to say Boba Fett deserves a B for Boba Fett because I think he's very, very strong and very capable in the right hands, but he's very hard to master. Probably one of, if not the hardest hero to master with his jetpack and just learning all the ins and outs of his abilities, how to use them correctly. I never spent all my time with Boba Fett, but I feel like if I did, he's definitely a very, very formidable character. Do you think B is good?
Yeah, I think so.
Alright, so now moving on to Bossk. So Bossk is a bit of a weird one. I'm just going to set him here for right now. He might not be here in the long run, but I just want to put him here because I don't like his face.
Yeah. When it comes to damage, he's definitely very, very powerful.
Very powerful, yeah. I'll say Bossk is one of the strongest and by far one of the most frustrating characters in the game. And unfortunately, Darkseid's got a couple of these with Bossk, Boba, and kind of Iden, but also Captain Phasma, all being very irritating blasters to fight against. Bossk specifically, he has a jump higher than normal, making it so that he can dodge around, making him harder to hit with blaster heroes. He can move a little bit more sporadically, and he can even dodge saber heroes, not very bad. And he has 3... I'm actually trying to remember. I think he has 3 damaging abilities, which is pretty rare. I haven't played very much Bossk because I feel slimy whenever I play him, but I think he has his one that gives him infrared vision and turns his gun into a rocket launcher, or a grenade launcher. He's got the one that sets down a bunch of mines, and then he's got his poison Dioxis, all of which can be very frustrating. The grenade launcher obviously can go through lightsaber blocks, so can the Dioxis, so can the mines. 3 damaging abilities on a hero that already has a gun that deals pretty good damage. Not bad. So how good is he in Heroes vs. Villains? extremely good. Amazing. How good is he against troopers? Troopers tend to get a little bit more spread out, but if you are defending an objective, I feel like he's very good. Customization. Now, here's where he really falls apart. 0 skins, obviously. He didn't have that many options to begin with. And star cards. While I don't play him, I feel like every time I see a Bossk, they always have the same, like, 3 or 4 star cards.
So you think it's pretty much limited to he only has 3 good ones?
Yeah, I feel like he's got ones that are definitely better than all of his others, and I think it's the ones that buff his Dioxis and his healing. Because that's another thing. Bossk is the only... I think he's the only hero, or the only villain, that can actually regenerate all the way back up to his full HP if he goes out of combat. Other characters can only regenerate up to a portion of the damage that they take. Bossk, no matter what, I think, can heal all the way back up to full. And that is, again, frustrating more than anything. It kind of encourages you to play like a slimy little lizard. So props to them for that, I guess. So this all leads into the play type. In my opinion, Bossk has probably got one of the worst, like, play types.
I've never encountered anyone who doesn't play so annoyingly than Bossk.
Yeah. I feel like to play Bossk good, you just gotta piss everyone off. Yeah, Bossk is annoying, but very strong.
Because he's so powerful and everything, and his star cards can make him even more powerful, there's really no way to play him without annoying someone.
Yeah.
It's like I'm assuming like how Anakin was with whatever Anakin was. I mean, he was so powerful.
Really strong. I feel like also when I played on the PC, Bossk was by far the character that I saw at like level 700, 800, like maxed out levels. I saw extremely high level Bosks way more than any other character. I feel like 1, this is because he was a launch hero. 2, because even while he was tinkered a bit throughout Battlefront's lifespan, he always remained as like one of the strongest characters in the game. But I will say that Battlefront 1 already had a fairly strange roster. They were trying to stick with only original trilogy characters. Battlefront 2, in terms of the launch roster, Bossk seemed extremely out of place. Bossk has extremely, I think he has 1 or 2 scenes in the actual original trilogy of Star Wars, and then he has a handful of lines and scenes in Clone Wars, but he still doesn't have like an arc dedicated to him or anything, or even an episode. So I don't know why he deserves a spot in Battlefront 2. I feel like there's a lot of characters that could have had a spot.
Ventress.
Yeah, Ventress, Savage. I feel like there were characters that could have been really cool. Cad Bane. I know. Yeah, I feel like there was just so many options that could have been so much cooler. Even, I can't remember exactly what her name was. It's kind of on the tip of my tongue.
Honestly, they could have even put Hondo.
Oh yeah, Hondo? That would have been sweet. You know what would have been cool if Hondo had like an ability where you could like summon like pirates to fight.
Oh my god.
Little AI pirates. That'd be so funny.
That would be just all of a sudden he's just pointing at you and all of a sudden it's just out of the bushes.
Yeah. Just a bush appears next to you, you're like, what the fuck? Anyways, back to Bossk. Besides the fact that I don't think he should be in the game, he is definitely strong, just very annoying.
Yeah, so, and we can't put him in F just because of just how annoying he is, because of how powerful he is.
Yeah.
It'd be like if we put Anakin in F back when Anakin was very powerful.
Yeah. But I do feel like him being so frustrating and strange does dock him a few points.
Oh, definitely. Doesn't put him in S or anything.
Yeah. I almost feel like a good spot for Bossk would be definitely either B or A, just in terms of like power. I feel like he could definitely rival Chewie in terms of just raw like power, because while he definitely doesn't have the tankiness, well actually, you know, he kind of does have the tankiness that Chewie does, just because he can regenerate all the way back up to full. He's got so much like power.
I still feel like A is too generous, considering he's so annoying
Yeah.
when people play him. I feel like he should be docked more points than that to not land a spot in A's, so probably B.
Yeah, I can see that. I was being too nice.
Yeah.
Look at his slimy little face. Okay, that's enough of that.
If he wasn't so powerful, I mean, if he wasn't so powerful, he wouldn't be as annoying, but, like, you know, if people didn't play him so annoying,
yeah,
then he would be higher.
Yeah. Okay. Next is Darth Vader. I feel like this is an interesting one. This is, like, one of my favorite characters to play against and to see in the game, but I very, very rarely actually play him.
I enjoy playing him the times I do.
Yeah, me too. Like, when I do decide to play Vader, I always have fun. I've seen some really good Vader players.
Oh, definitely. Like, really good. It's like, and it's not even, like, annoyingly good. It's just, like, you gotta clap for them, like,
yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah. I feel like Vader is a character that's easy enough to play. He's very fun, and
Definitely.
he kind of, maybe it's just because he's Darth Vader, but, like, he's kind of just got this presence about him that makes it feel cool whenever you see him.
Whenever you die as him, his theme plays.
Yeah, and whenever you spawn as him, his theme plays.
Maybe that adds to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's also just one of the more menacing ones. I mean, you don't want to see Vader just approaching from behind you, like, it's terrifying.
Yeah. Like the fucking Rogue One intro scene.
Yeah.
Or exit scene.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So, how good is he in Heroes... Excuse me, holy. How good is he in Heroes vs. Villains? Very, very good. The tankiest saber hero, by far. And that's kind of just the best way to put him, is that he is a powerhouse. Good damage, good utility with his... he's got a decent amount, like, not a ton of range, but a decent amount with his lightsaber throw, which you can modify with star cards to kind of surprise people. He's got utility with his choke, which can grab multiple people, and if you're good enough, you can throw them off edges. A little bit more difficult to do, but some people can really do it really well.
Yeah, I didn't even actually realize you could do that until I watched someone. I was like, wait, you can do that?
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Like, the controls for that were very strange on the PC. You have to, like, just slam your mouse to the side and hope that it does enough. Oh, and then his focused rage ability, which gives him more health.
Yeah,
which
he already had a good amount of health, but the focused rage gave him a lot more.
I don't know if it's changed with the buffs. I know that they changed some of his star cards to reduce his max health, but I remember there was ways that you could get, like, well over 1,000 health on Vader, which is just crazy. I think Maul's max health is 600, if I remember correctly. So Vader having almost twice that, probably more, is crazy. But yeah, so same thing against troopers. I will say his stamina is a little lackluster. He can only block and attack so many times before he's out of stamina. You know, he's got asthma. But but honestly, he's got the health to take that downfall. In terms of customization, again, in terms of skins, obviously he never got any.
Yeah.
He had a little bit of opportunity.
Yeah, like something that would have been cool was when his mask got
shattered.
Yeah, shattered a bit.
Yeah.
And what was that? Technically Rebels?
That was Rebels, yeah.
Yeah. When he was fighting Ahsoka.
Yeah. They could have done different versions of the Vader suit. I kind of see why they didn't, but, like, there are some versions where he's got more red eyes and they're kind of more round looking, and other ones where he looks more angry. Again, the Rebels Vader looks slightly different from the normal Vader.
They do the one where he has his mask off.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
I know.
Then they just have to pick if he has eyebrows or no eyebrows. An Anakin skin with Vader, it would have been confusing, but I think a Sith Anakin skin as a Vader skin would have been really cool.
Him crying.
Yeah. Him, like, with, like, the scar and the red Sith eyes that could, like, glow or something. I think that would have been really cool for a Vader skin. Now, in terms of star cards, I do think Vader's actually got a little bit of movement that he can do with his star cards. He has one in particular. I feel like the bonus health one, it's never not useful to have bonus health. You might as well take it. But other than that, you can kind of do whatever you want. And I think that's good. That's something that needs to be done for a lot of characters to make them more interesting so you can play them a lot. And in terms of play type for Vader, not overly toxic. Right?
No, again, like I said, whenever I encounter a Vader who kills me, they it's like you can't even actually be mad at how they did it, because you just gotta kind of be like, that was a good game.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely feels like he's not so strong to the point where like there's just nothing you can do about it, but he's definitely like a challenge at the same time. And honestly, I think...
And also, actually, when you're playing as like the villains and someone's a Vader, I've never come across someone who comes up as like a tryhard who like tries to steal your kills or anything.
Yeah.
And they honestly sometimes act really funny. Like,
yeah.
I've had a few times when like I'll do like an emote and they'll like stop what they're doing and look at me and emote back, and it's just really fun.
Yeah. I kind of want to put this guy all the way up in the S tier.
I was gonna say, can we put him in S tier?
Yeah, I feel like that's a fitting place for Vader and Anakin. Huh.
Yeah, huh.
My finger hurts from holding down the push to talk. Maybe I should just turn off the push to talk. Keys.
My finger. That was really funny.
Right now I gotta push to mute instead. I don't have to hold it down. My finger hurts so bad.
I just love the way you held up your finger. Calm down.
Water. I'm sorry.
You know, that wasn't very ladylike.
I know, that's why I did it. Okay. Who's next? Oh, I was like, where's the screen I'm supposed to be looking at? There it is. We have two monitors, by the way, so I was looking. Okay, so Count Dooku.
I played him very little.
Yeah, I think Dooku is one of the very few people that I've actually never played. I probably tried him once, but I know he's level 1 on my PC. Now, I've seen a lot of people play him. I know what his abilities do, and I know that he is the duelist character. He is meant to be a strong lightsaber duelist, which I think is really cool. He has an ability which makes his strikes, I think, take less stamina and deal more damage, and then he has an ability that marks an enemy and makes them take more damage from his lightsaber strikes.
Is that the one who like points?
Yeah, he like points at you. So if he stacks both of those, he just does a devastating amount of damage in combat, in lightsaber combat. Then he's got his little lightning. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird lightning one. Cool, but a little bit strange. It just kind of knocks them down for a second and does a little bit of damage. I always think it's funny getting killed by that, like when you start running away and then he's just like, and then you just fall over. So Dooku, in Heroes vs. Villains, I'd say really good. That's where he shines. Against Troopers, still good. I'd say that his marking ability is only really good against like reinforcement stuff, so it gets a little situational. But he's still very viable. And then because he's also got really good stamina. That's another thing. He's got very viable stamina that you can mess with. And then his customization, he launched with 3 skins or 2 skins?
I just remember the pajama.
I know, I always just remember the pajama one.
I
swear there was another one though. Maybe not actually. Maybe it was just the pajamas.
It's just pajamas.
Oh, maybe it is actually.
Wait, didn't he have one where it was like a shoulder thing, or am I thinking of something?
Oh, that's right. He had the Dark Rituals one. So he had his pajamas, and then he had this Dark Ritual with the shoulders, you were right.
Okay, so I do remember something with shoulders.
Honestly, that one doesn't look bad. I think that is from also the Clone Wars.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so a decent amount of skins. 3 skins, I'd say, about average for most characters. Star cards, I don't play enough of him to really know what his star cards are, unfortunately. Yeah, I really couldn't tell you. I'd assume you just do whatever makes his lightsaber strikes better. Whether that be upgrading one of those 2 abilities, or something that makes his health, stamina, or saber strikes better. But yeah, I just don't play enough to really know.
Yeah.
I definitely think he's good, though.
Yeah.
Where do you think he actually belongs?
Yeah, that's the typical part.
Yeah. I almost want to say that he's probably on par with General Kenobi. Because I feel like his main weakness is a lack of mobility and a lack of range. He really doesn't have enough defense to like run up on someone or just block and like approach someone like Obi-Wan would, but he has a lot more damage output than Obi-Wan. So I feel like having so many strengths but those big weaknesses kind of docks him from being an S tier. So
yeah, I think that's a good spot.
All right, A for Dooku. I'm surprised they didn't do the Clone Wars skin. I would like to see like the pencil beard and like the fucking like side head. I don't know, it just looks really weird. Palpatine. Oh god.
This is definitely a tricky one.
Yeah. So, with the exception of the balls, the only non-lightsaber, non-blaster hero, very, very weird to rank him with everyone. So he can't block, that's one thing. In terms of defense, he has literally zero defensive options. The only thing he really does have is he has a stun and 2 damaging abilities, both of which are AoE based. I'd say he is a terrible duelist. You pretty much never want to do a one-on-one against a saber hero as Palpatine, just because 2 of your abilities are meant to deal damage to large groups of people. His chain lightning is meant to bounce across enemies. His aura is meant to hit obviously multiple people. His only other one is his stun, which also is meant to be able to hit multiple people. Not a good duelist, but a good fighter still, because I don't know if you guys have ever played like co-op with an Emperor Palpatine, but all he really has to do is stand there with his Echo active and use chain lightning, and he can rack up hundreds of kills. So he's a bit of a weird one. Heroes versus villains, he's still not bad. He still has 2 damaging abilities and a stun ability, which isn't bad, but they aren't overly hard to evade, per se. They can be blocked. I think all of them can be blocked except for the Echo, or the Aura, which doesn't do that much damage. And the he doesn't have a ton of offensive stamina either for his lightning. So, in terms of heroes versus villains, I think he's decent, probably not great. How good is he against troopers? Extremely. That's where he shines. Very similar to Finn. He seems like he's meant to be played against troopers. Now, in terms of customization, during the very last update, he got a skin, finally, the Sith Eternal skin. Cool, it gives him color. He's got like the red, and he's got the glowing eyes. It's really cool, but they made it free. I really think they shouldn't do that for any skin ever.
Yeah, no, because it just immediately takes away the good of it if
Yeah.
you can just easily get it.
Yeah.
It's always so much nicer to earn a skin.
Yeah, exactly. So at least he's got a skin. A lot of Darkside characters did not have a skin, and still don't. BB-9E, Bossk, Darth Vader, Boba Fett.
And the ones that do don't really need them, or the ones that they do have are kind of iffy.
Yeah.
Like Kylo's, like
Yeah.
his variety of them.
Yeah. Kylo's one of the... I think Kylo has the most skins, and still I almost never like how he looks.
Yeah, and like with each one, there's so many of them, and with each one there's just a slight change.
Yeah.
So it's really nothing too special, honestly. It's just whatever one you think looks better.
Yeah. So for Palpatine, star cards wise, another issue I have with Palpatine, you absolutely, no matter what, always use his Lightning Reach card. I thought they were going to get rid of it at one point. I thought they did it at some point, but I don't think they actually did. I think he still has this lightning reach star card, which makes his lightning be able to reach further. And there is, like, if you're not using it, you're at a disadvantage. So you should always use that star card, and the fact that he has a star card like that is bad, because there shouldn't be any character that has a star card that you absolutely need to use. And then after that, you kind of have some options, but I don't think any of them are overly game-changing. Like, I think the Chain Lightning one is really good, especially if playing co-op against troopers, but and then, again, you are just making yourself better against troopers. You might have some better options if you're trying to play heroes versus villains. I don't play enough of Palpatine to really know.
Trust me, I don't either.
Yeah. So, play type in heroes versus villains, a little annoying. He's got to jump around a lot because he doesn't have a block. He doesn't have any mobility besides his. The fucking dodge. Fuck, what the fuck I said.
I don't know what you said either. Were you thinking of Kylo going work?
Yeah.
You see me happy, work. You see me do me dirt.
Where do you think he goes?
That I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah, he's a really tough one. He is, in my opinion, the strongest character to play against troopers. But not overly great in heroes versus villains. So I would put him... I definitely had to dock him like a lot of points for only being good against troopers. But he is really good against them. And he's still viable in heroes versus villains. It's just, you have to be really good with him. Kind of makes me want to put him in the B tier, honestly.
Yeah, I'd say B or C, but yeah.
Yeah. Because...
But I kind of don't want to say C, because he's still powerful.
Yeah, he is still really powerful. I feel like he does what BB-8 does in multiplayer. He can just do it a lot more because he's got so many more, like, chain options.
Yeah, so I think B is a good spot for him.
Alright, I think so too. Also, the lack of customization just really sucks.
I like that we put Dooku above Palpatine.
Yeah. I like that we put BB-8 above Finn. And right. Oh boy. Yeehaw, it's Grievous time. You know, I'm gonna put that like side by side with fucking Zannies.
Yes.
Really a lesser version of his legendary skin. I think I saw that in my literal years of playing Battlefront, I think I saw that second skin once. Because it is literally a less cool version of this legendary skin.
Yeah, it's like, why would you go for a less cool version of the skin?
Yeah, exactly. So, that's a little strange, but at least he's got a really cool legendary skin. Again, villains are lacking in skins. Good ones.
Which is very sad.
Yeah, because usually villains are the ones that have the most cool options. But how good is he in heroes versus villains? Again, Grievous is not a character I play. I kind of have my happy picks for villains.
Yeah, I've played him a few times. He's not really... Okay, an issue with him is he's not really fast. The only time he's fast is if you use one of his abilities. I don't remember which ability it was.
The Claw Rush.
Well, yeah, I know what it's called. I just didn't remember.
I think it's his right ability, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. But yeah, it allows you to crawl away and also knock down enemies, and honestly, that's really fun to do.
Yeah.
And it's also a good getaway, and it's good to use, again, considering he's not very fast.
Yeah, and it deals damage, and that's a good thing is when you have an ability like that has so many uses. You can use it to get away, you can use it to deal damage, you can use it just to run, you know? It doesn't have a super long cooldown, so good to have an ability with so many options. And that's just one of his abilities. He's also got the one where he stands and defends and swings really fast.
Mm-hmm. You gotta love that one.
Yeah.
I mean, that one is still hard to control, though. That is not something where... That's something where you want a lot of enemies around you, because you move way slower when doing it. So you can't really get far, and again, it obviously, like every ability, it's timed. And so you want to make sure you have a lot of enemies around you so you can hit them.
Yeah. And also his his other ability... Oh, it's his other ability... Okay, actually, that's his right ability. I think the Crawler is his middle ability, and then the other one's his left. Because, yeah, I think his right ability is the, like, thrust.
Yeah.
That ability I've always thought is a little weird. It just looks clunky.
Yeah.
Like...
I never really use that ability too much, so I can't really comment on that one.
Yeah, it basically... So, what I always thought was weird about this ability, or his thrust ability, is that he locks onto an enemy, and there's not a lot of abilities in the game that just locks on to the enemy that you're looking at and, like, moves you towards them. Grievous's, it just looks really weird, especially if they're, like, above you. Then he just kind of floats through the air until he hits them.
He literally just slides at you very fast.
Yeah, it definitely looks weird, and it just kind of knocks them down and does a little bit of damage. Again, it's kind of similar to that Dooku lightning ability. It's just... I feel like they just ran out of ideas.
Yeah.
I feel like there's some cooler stuff they could have done. Like, imagine if that... Okay, so the ARC Trooper Reinforcement, if you use their right ability, it switches their firing modes so that the pistols fire really fast, or you can switch it, you can hit it again for them to fire slower, but they're more accurate. Imagine if Grievous had a ability like that where he could switch between modes, but it made it so that he unlocked his other 4 arms and had like 4 arms to attack with.
That would have been... Okay, that one would have been cool.
Yeah, and then he could have done like faster attacks that deal less damage, but obviously they're a lot faster, or he could have gone to like 2 attacks that deal less damage. I feel like that would have been way cooler than just this little weird-looking thrust.
Yeah, they definitely ran out of ideas, and they probably thought, oh, he needs a thrust, you know, these other characters have a thrust.
Yeah. But no, still a strong character overall. Definitely an interesting one. Star cards. Again, I don't use Grievous. I don't know a lot of his star cards.
Yeah. I also don't remember how much health he had and how quickly his stamina runs out, so I can't.
I do say, I know that his offensive stamina wasn't fantastic. Again, he's got asthma. I feel like it wasn't like overly hindering. I feel like his defensive stamina wasn't fantastic either, but that doesn't necessarily hold him back too much. At least in Grievous's case, because he's got 3 damaging abilities, potentially damaging. So, play type for Grievous.
I don't think there's a bad play type.
Yeah.
Because, again, he's not one of those characters that can be an annoying one, you know?
Yeah. Very occasionally, I'll say, I see a Grievous, and I'm like, this fucking slimy little bastard, because he's like I get him low, and I'm like about to win a fight, and then he just starts fucking claw rushing.
But hey, you gotta give it to that person. They're really in character with Grievous.
Yeah, that's basically Grievous in every fight.
So if you want to you can actually look at that as a positive way. They're acting just like him.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that's pretty good. I think Grievous is definitely a very strong character. He doesn't have too many weaknesses. I think stamina's a little low, but...
And again, he's not fast, and he's also not fast in one of his abilities he does, but...
Yeah.
That's not really anything too bad.
Yeah, just kind of the nature of his character kind of makes up for it.
Yeah.
So where do you think he goes?
Another difficult one. I want to say maybe C.
C?
Yeah. Do you think that's good, or...?
I'm kind of torn between C or B.
That's what I'm thinking. I was like looking at what characters we have for each one, and I'm trying to think where he best fits.
Because I feel like he doesn't quite reach Dooku and Kenobi.
No, and he's not. He's not as terrible as like Finn or anything.
Yeah, or Yoda or any of them. I'm trying to think which he kind of compares better to. I don't know. I feel like since not only is he good in Heroes vs. Villains, but also the Troopers, and also he's got not a bad play type and a decent skin.
Yeah.
And 3 damaging abilities. I feel like a B is probably...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Alright. Now, Iden. When the game first came out, I played a lot of Iden Versio. She's the campaign character for Battlefront 2. very weird to play. She's got 2 abilities that are very situational. Well, one of them's situational, the other is extremely situational. And then a third ability that is a shock. It's always, it's always good to have a stun ability. And then her arguably most powerful is her alternate fire on her gun, because it basically just fires this little grenade charge that does a good amount of damage, honestly, and can't be blocked by lightsabers. I played her when she first came out because she's very easy. Her sniper ability, unless you're playing against troopers on very specific maps, you are literally never, ever going to use that sniper ability. The shock ability you'll use against enemies that are tough, so that you can get some damage in, because you can just shock them and then walk up and unload into their heads. Give them the old Abe Lincoln, blow your load into the back of their head, Alright, never mind. Shield ability, good against blasters, good for a little escape. Doesn't obviously work against lightsabers or anything like that, so it's very easy to get around it. Also, I don't think it blocks like explosives or anything, so most people can find a way to get around that little barrier. There are some people that are extremely, extremely good with Iden. A few. I kind of am like neither here nor there with Iden. When it comes to how good she is in heroes versus villains, she's really good against lightsaber heroes. I'd say she is a very strong duelist. At the same time, whenever I am playing, I feel like I never really have that many issues with an Iden killing me, even as a saber hero, which is like what you'd think should be really good at fighting. I never really have that many issues against her. So clearly she's not that strong. How good is she against troopers? I'd say she's like middle of the line, honestly. She feels like a ever so slightly better reinforcement. I would kind of rather play a reinforcement though, like the ARC Trooper or like the Commando Droid. Some of them are just more fun. That's one thing, I feel like Iden is just very plain, kind of boring to play. Her skin's even kind of boring. She's got the black outfit, the default outfit for her. Pretty cool, it's like a black stormtrooper, Spec Ops. And then she's got the unmasked. That's okay, I guess. Her star cards are... I feel like none of them really change up her gameplay that much. You just take the one that helps her alternate fire, and from then on you're just free to do whatever you want. So I feel like not a lot of people play her. The ones that do are usually really good, but she's just kind of boring. I know you haven't played that much of her, that's why I kind of took over.
No, I don't know anything about her.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and give her a C. She's very strong in the right hands, but she's also just kind of plain. Yeah, like, I wouldn't... Actually, you know what? I'm almost thinking maybe D, even, like... Because I feel like Finn is kind of the same case.
Yeah, like, good in cases, but also just lacking.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually going to say D. I feel like she doesn't quite deserve to be put on the same as Lando and Leia there. Okay, now this is an interesting one. Katelyn will probably know more about him than me. Kylo Ren. I really liked Kylo Ren when the Force Awakens trailer came out, and then when I actually watched the Force Awakens for the first time and he took off his mask and I realized he kind of just looked like an edgy teenager, I was very off-put, and...
He definitely doesn't... You wouldn't expect him to look the way he does.
Yeah, like, I was really expecting him to look like this, like... Well, I was kind of expecting, like, the new Vader, like, something really cool, something really, like, badass. Not what we got. Yeah, I don't know. I will say, they only had to give him a beard. If they just gave him a beard...
Oh my god, if he had a beard.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have ever seen pictures of Adam Driver with a beard.
He is so much hotter with a beard.
I'll even say he is sexy with a beard. But...
Like, he already had fangirls without it, but no, he needs much more fangirls with it.
Yeah, so...
I haven't played Kylo in a while, so I kind of don't remember his abilities too much. I do remember his freeze, and I do like what is it called when he just goes crazy?
The Frenzy.
Frenzy. That one's really fun and can also be really helpful if you're low on health and there's a bunch of enemies around you, because he will just go and like one shot kill so many enemies, and it'll really help get your health back up.
Yeah. His third ability is the pull. A very fun combo is using the pull, and then while they're still in midair, using the freeze.
Yes.
Very satisfying. I feel like Kylo is probably, next to like Luke, one of the simplest, easiest characters to play, but still like one of the most fun. Because
he's definitely really fun to play as. I always enjoy playing him.
Yeah, and yeah, I also always really enjoy playing him. In Heroes vs. Villains, very powerful. He's got a ragdoll, a stun, and a damage ability, and then he's got serviceable stamina, both defensive and offensive, and middle of the line health. I think better than MAUL's, but not like Vader's or anything. It's like what you'd expect.
Yeah.
But no, he's like a fun, unique hero, I think, or villain. I don't have too much to say about him. He's good in Heroes vs. Villains. He's really good against troopers with that frenzy ability, and all of his abilities are area of effect, so they can hit multiple enemies. All of his abilities are, so that makes him really good against troopers. You can get some really satisfying if you like jump over an edge and use his pull. You can like pull multiple heroes off an edge.
Yeah.
That's really fun.
Does he really even have any weaknesses in Battlefront? Because I can't really think of it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to think. I guess. So to be fair, he doesn't have any mobility options. He doesn't have a dodge or a dash. Well, he does have a dodge. He also has his block. But in terms of like abilities, he doesn't have any like dash ability, which a lot of heroes do have. Nor anything to like give himself more health or reduce the damage he's taking, except for Frenzy to a degree. But honestly, kind of similar to like Anakin. He just doesn't need it. He does enough on his own to not really need, like, an ability for getting out of a situation. I kind of just want to give him an S.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. And in terms of customization, he's got a ton of skins.
Yeah, but not really too much changes with each one. So again, it just depends on what one you think looks better.
It's, like, not like Han quality on all the skins. Like, they're not, like, all very different. Well, even Han's got a few, but... Excuse me. Kylo... Oh my goodness. I don't know if I have the hiccups or what, but Kylo has a lot of skins that are very, very similar. It's like, here's one of him with black, like, fabric clothes. Now here's one of him in black, like, latex clothes, and now he's got a cape.
No, and like, isn't there one where, like, here's him unmasked, but then there's another one where he's like, here's him unmasked, but with the scar.
Oh, that's another thing. His unmasked skin, was a pre-order exclusive. That's the other pre-order exclusive skin.
I have that, by the way.
I just have to rub it in everyone's faces, because I don't play Kylo. Not with that skin. His unmasked skin was a pre-order exclusive. Not only do I not like how he looks unmasked, but also, I don't know who voices Kylo in Battlefront 2, but I'm pretty sure it's not Adam Driver. And it does not sound good when he is unmasked. Like, it just sounds weird. Like, really weird.
Yeah.
I just don't like hearing his voice, so I always keep the mask on.
Yeah.
And it makes me not want to use the special pre-order skin to rub it in everyone's faces, and trust me, that's a big pull. That's like the only reason I've ever played Rey, in case you're wondering. I said her name.
I had to go bleach my tongue.
Yeah. Go bleach my tongue, Jesus. But yeah, Kylo, he's got skins at least. It's more than you could say for some. In terms of star cards, he has very interchangeable star cards. That's another thing I really like. You don't have any star cards on Kylo that you absolutely have to use. Most people go for upgrading his Frenzy. It's not necessary, though, especially if you're trying to play Heroes vs. Villains. And play type, most... I'd say sometimes you kind of run into a Kylo and you're like, man, this guy's really trying, isn't he? But it's not very often.
No,
and
not really. Usually someone who's playing Kylo is playing it just to literally have fun, and it's not in a bad way.
Yeah. So, Kylo, I definitely think is cool. You can occasionally get the Kylos just sitting there in the back screaming cowards all game.
Yeah, but that's not very often.
Yeah.
And even if they do that, it just kind of makes it easier just to go kill them if they're just going to stand there screaming.
Yeah. Okay, Captain Phasma. I have played very, very little Captain Phasma because I hate her.
But we've experienced her enough.
Yeah, we've had enough. How good is she in Heroes vs. Villains? Okay, so how good is she is very hard to say as someone who hasn't played a lot of her. I know she has a good, blaster. She has decent enough damage output. Her staff strikes were really bad for a really, really long time, and then I hear that they buffed them. I haven't played enough with or against her since that buff to know if it's actually worth using now, but I think they are. So at least her staff strikes, she's got a staff strike ability. Something you don't see. You don't see blaster heroes with melee abilities very often, so that's pretty cool. I actually really liked that, the idea of that ability. I'm glad that it might be viable now. She's got, I think her middle ability is something that buffs her and her allies. I think it gives them, like, their guns, don't go down, it's like the overcharge thing.
Yeah.
And also, it's just a buff for support. And then on her right ability is the dildo bot, the one that shocks people when they get close.
That one is so annoying.
I don't know why they even thought that would be a cool ability for a hero. I understand wanting to have a hero that can place down a turret. But that's not it. You don't want a turret that stuns and has more health than Vader.
Yes, and that ties into the play type for her because she will plant it and she'll either stand next to it and attack you whenever it stuns you, or she will literally go hide somewhere.
Yeah. There are games and clips where Captain Phasma will sit in a room with two entrances, place the dildo bot in a spot where it can reach both entrances, and then if anyone tries to run in, then her whole team will be sitting in that room and just unload on anyone that tries to come in. And it's just impossible to deal with. Pretty much impossible, at least.
There was one game where you remember this, where she placed it on top of like this area, and she was literally hiding in a building just behind some boxes.
Yeah.
I walked in and saw her just literally just chilling there.
Yeah.
Didn't even give her a chance to attack me because I just immediately just started railing on her.
Yeah. A very weird character, and I don't know why they gave her that ability, because I feel like she could have been really cool without that ability. And like they did a little bit of messing with the bot to like reduce how often it stuns and stuff, I think, but she still got star cards to kind of counteract it. So how good is she? Similar to Bossk, really good if you want to be really annoying. But if you don't play her that way, I don't know how strong she'll actually be, is the thing.
Yeah, that's the annoying part about it.
Is like, it sucks when you have to play a character a certain way.
To where it annoys everyone, but it's the only way to actually play them to actually do anything.
Yeah.
That's why you gotta love characters like Kylo, where you don't have to play a certain way. You can literally, you can't play them wrong. You just play them for fun.
It's fun for the whole family. And for customization, 0 skins. She had the perfect opportunity for a skin when she died in The Last Jedi. With the broken down mask, you can see her eyes. She's got like battle-torn armor. It's the same thing as General Grievous. That was her only option for a skin, because she literally, that was like her only other scene, I swear.
Yeah, she like wasn't featured at all.
Yeah. Just, another issue with the sequel trilogy. We'll save that for another video.
Totally.
And as for star cards, I don't know what her star cards are. I don't play her enough, but I guarantee you just take absolutely everything that helps her dildo bot. If it can stun more often, if it reduces the recharge time, if it does more damage, no matter what it is, if it increases health, get it. It's probably her best option.
Because let's be honest, that's all she'll use.
Yeah. So this makes her very, very difficult to place, but I already kind of think I know where I want to put her.
You know more about her, so I say you just put her wherever.
I think she deserves a spot in C for since she's derived to just the one playstyle, she doesn't quite deserve like to be on the same scale as like Bossk, Emperor Palpatine, Boba, but at the same time, since that style is just so powerful if you do use it in the right situations, it still puts her above BB9, Finn, the other ones. Yeah. Okay. It's time.
Our boy.
The main man.
The main horny man.
I'm horny. I love Darth Maul. You should know this.
You should know this. I know this.
Yeah. He's just really, really cool. I already know where I want to put him, but we will talk about him.
Mm-hmm.
How good is he in a Heroes vs. Villains? Darth Maul is very, very strong in the right hands. Does have a little bit of a steeper learning curve than a lot of other heroes, or villains. Mostly because of his low health,
yes,
low defensive stamina, and abilities that can be misused. His lightsaber throw does not deal a lot of damage, doesn't travel as far as you might think.
Yeah.
His choke can be blocked, and sometimes it registers a little weird. Like sometimes you try and use his choke and it just like goes to your right or something. Like it can be a little bit weird, finicky, but I think it's a bug.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's more so on the bug.
Yeah.
Side
And then his dash ability, which is it kind of helps solidify him as one of as probably the fastest saber hero in the game.
Yeah, but the only issue is you need to be good with it, otherwise you will dash off of a cliff or be like me and somehow glitch into a building.
Yeah, I wish we were recording that because
yeah, I literally did his spin dash into a wall. I somehow glitched through it into the building, and it was very weird. But I could not get out, and some people who died spawned on me, not realizing that I was glitched, and then they were stuck too.
Yeah. It was on the Tatooine map, not Jabba's Palace, the other Tatooine map for co-op. I think it's on the second objective. There's a building that you can dash into, and yeah, Darth Maul's probably one of the buggier characters. Kind of sucks, but he's very high speed. You kind of just are constantly on the move with Darth Maul.
Mm-hmm.
How good is he in Heroes vs. Villains? I'd say once you learn how to play him, really good. Mm-hmm. He's got the choke for area of effect damage and just manipulating the battlefield. And for Heroes vs. Villains specifically, there's a lot of Heroes vs. Villain maps where you try and shove people off the map.
Yeah, and also his dash isn't just like a one-use ability. He can use it like, what is it, 3 times?
He can use it, I think it's twice, and then 3 times if you have a certain star card. Mm-hmm. Which I kind of feel like he's one of the characters where you actually don't need that third dash, but if you're really trying to play like the fast Darth Maul, which is, I always use his third dash star card, but I feel like you probably don't actually need to.
Yeah.
Again, this might be a little bit biased in my side. But in Heroes vs. Villains, yeah, he's got some of the highest damage output. If you're just going in like pure how much damage can he do. All 3 of his abilities deal damage. The Force Push is the Force Choke is a good like get them away ability.
Yeah, if you got like a million people running after you.
Yeah, the lightsaber throw, it actually has a really low recharge time. I always use it to initiate combat. When I'm running in, I throw my lightsaber first and then go into the fight, and then I wait, and when they try to run away because I'm kicking their ass, then I throw it to finish them off. Happens every time. You just use it to secure kills mostly. Or if there's like a blaster hero or someone that's giving you trouble. Also for troopers, or we'll get into troopers in a second. But yeah, for Maul, in Heroes vs. Villains, as long as you figure out how to play him, it can take a little bit of practice, he's really good. I have a lot to say about Maul. I'm sorry. This might be a little bit more long-winded than the other ones, that's why I left him for last. Against troopers, his lightsaber throw, this is where it's good. It can kill, I'm pretty sure assaults, at the very least, it can deal a lot of their health. Because you can hit them on the way forward and then on the way back, similar to other lightsaber throws. And you can use star cards to increase its damage if you do want to make sure it kills troopers when it hits them. For when I'm using troopers, that's when I use his lightsaber throw a lot more, and his choke can hit a lot of troopers at the same time. Again, you can use star cards to make it hit more people, deal more damage, or throw them further. Quick tip, do not use Darth Maul's star card that increases the distance you throw people, unless you're using it in Heroes vs. Villains on a map where you're trying to throw people off cliffs, because otherwise, you almost always want to choke someone, throw them, and immediately dash over to go hit them while they're down. Or while they're still getting up, rather. But yeah, that's just a quick tip for you, I guess. And then his dash makes him very, very fast in trooper game modes. If you're playing co-op, again, AI don't care how fast you are, they will nail your ass. It's, for me, very satisfying and fun to play a character that is so fast. Such like a high velocity character like that. Plus he's just kind of really stylish. Unfortunately, it took until the very, very last update for them to finally add a Darth Maul skin to Battlefront 2. And it was a skin that a lot of people had been requesting, yet they kind of fucked it up. Everyone wanted Robot Legs Maul. Some people just wanted Hooded Maul. I would have gone for anything. I was literally like hungry for literally anything that would make my Darth Maul look superior to everyone else. But they added his Old Master skin, which is a weird combination of his Rebels look and a weird prior like Robot Legs look, because it's not the Robot Legs from Rebels, and his face doesn't look old. He doesn't have the longer horns or anything. It's just his normal face model, and you can tell they kind of half-assed it. Now it is still cool. He's got robot legs, they have their own sound effects and everything, it looks sweet, but it's not as cool as it could have been. There are mods that did the Darth Maul look a lot better. The Clone Wars shirtless robot, like half-body Maul would have been a lot cooler, I think.
Yeah, and he would have been taller.
Yeah, he would have been taller, that would have been sick. So, I feel like there's a lot with Darth Maul that could have gone better. In terms of skins, he had options, so they just didn't go into it. For star cards, Darth Maul is one of the characters. I think you can use literally any of his star cards. I pretty much found the ones that I was happy with, just because I'm lazy and don't like switching between star cards. But,
You also kind of forget too, honestly.
yeah. But the star cards that I ended up kind of getting happy with was his third dash, because I like being really fast, and then his what was it? Hang on. Fool Me Once. It reduces all your abilities cooldowns by like 8% at max level or something, or like 12%. I always use that because I like being as fast as possible, reducing the cooldown on his dash and on his lightsaber throw. It just kind of works with the playstyle I was going for. Then I also used his third dash ability. I can't remember what exactly it was called, but it's pretty self-explanatory, you'll see it. And then the third one, this is the one that I would kind of change occasionally. For a long time, I used the one that increased his lightsaber throw distance, and then I ended up kind of switching it out because I realized I didn't actually need it, for the one that doesn't affect, the only other star card that doesn't affect any of his abilities, and I'm trying to remember what exactly it does. Oh, it's, it reduces the amount of blaster damage you take as Darth Maul. Darth Maul is already very squishy. He is the he is the lightsaber hero with the absolute least health. So getting something that reduces damage from blasters is very useful because his defensive stamina isn't fantastic. It's his offensive stamina where he really shines. Now, obviously, most of the time you want to be moving fast enough that you're not shot anyway, but it's going to happen eventually, so yeah. Where do you think Darth Maul belongs? I'm sorry that took so long. Where do you think Darth Maul belongs?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
I mean, I know where I'd want to put him, but again, I'm biased, so...
Yeah, I'm also very biased. Okay, so clearly Darth Maul has weaknesses. He's not got a lot of defensive stamina, not got a lot of health, a duo that does not go very well together. It makes him very, very glass cannon. He breaks very easily, but does extremely high damage and has extremely high mobility.
Want to put him in the same tier as Kenobi.
Yeah, I think he'd be really happy right there, right next to Kenobi. We're gonna put him there, and we're gonna move Kenobi down. Actually, they're gonna be right next to each other. They're gonna be best buds. All right. That's it.